At the start of the movie, we see a dreamy wedding where a man imagines himself marrying the love of his life. But this picture-perfect moment quickly fades, and we dive into the troubled world of Paul. Paul is no ordinary man. He's dangerously obsessed with a world-famous singer named Sophia. His obsession grows darker each day, until one afternoon, he shows up uninvited at her home. Waiting for him is William, Sophia's loyal bodyguard. William's no stranger to Paul's repeated attempts to get close to her. He tries to reason with Paul, gently urging him to walk away and let go of the fantasy. But Paul is beyond reason. Desperate and unstable, he pulls out a knife and threatens to harm himself if he's not allowed inside. As Paul begins to hallucinate, seeing William as Sophia herself, William plays along in a desperate attempt to calm him down. But the illusion backfires. Paul snaps, violently attacking William and forcing his way into the house. Once inside, he doesn't hide or run. Instead, he immerses himself in his twisted fantasy, bathing in Sophia's tub, eating her food, pretending he belongs. But the fantasy doesn't last. Authorities catch up, and Paul is dragged away, institutionalized in a psychiatric facility. Months pass. Sophia is now casually dating a man named Rhodes. William, having recovered from the attack, is back by her side. More than just a bodyguard now, almost family. He lives with his daughter Abby and his second wife, Eleanor. But peace never lasts for long. News breaks. Paul has escaped from the facility, along with another disturbed patient, Penny. But they're not acting alone. Behind it all is Paul's old accomplice, Calhoun, a man with a grotesquely swollen eye from a parasitic infection. Together, they hatch a chilling plan, infiltrate Sophia's home, and take her forever. And they're not just targeting Sophia, William's family is now in the crosshairs. As the trio begins to close in, William warns Sophia to stay alert. That very night, Calhoun lurks outside William's house, trying to terrorize his wife and daughter. Alarmed, Eleanor calls William back home. Forced to protect his family, he leaves Sophia behind, alone, with only Rhodes for company. Eleanor reaches out to the police, but instead of sending help, they assign a cold, uninterested officer to keep watch. Back at Sophia's mansion, a security guard spots something strange, a trunk mysteriously left outside. As he goes to investigate, Paul makes his move, cutting the power and plunging the house into darkness. Inside, things are already tense between Sophia and Rhodes. Their relationship is fraying, and the blackout only adds to the chaos. While the guard fumbles with the circuit box, Penny ambushes him, ending his life in a brutal struggle. As Sophia and Rhodes argue, he storms out of the house, unaware of the danger waiting in the shadows. Locked out, Rhodes tries calling for the guard, but silence is all he gets. Frustrated, he heads to the garage to restore power himself. Meanwhile, Sophia stumbles through the darkness, trying to follow him, until she runs into someone unexpected. Paul. He pretends to be her boyfriend, murmuring apologies for leaving her. Sophia instantly realizes the danger and fights back, grabbing anything she can from the kitchen to defend herself. But Paul's delusion is too strong. He sees her resistance as a lover's quarrel. Sophia runs, Paul chases. Outside, Rhodes struggles with the locked gate, helpless to intervene. Just as Sophia tries to escape, Paul catches her and slams her head into the door, knocking her out cold. Outside William's house, a silent threat is already in motion. A patrolling officer, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadows, becomes Calhoun's next victim, brutally ambushed and left for dead. When William returns home, the eerie silence and the missing officer immediately set off alarm bells. He doesn't waste a second. Grabbing Eleanor and Abby, he rushes them to the car, determined to get to the police. But just as they start the engine, Calhoun appears, gun in hand, and he's pointing it at William's daughter. He forces William to surrender his weapon and orders Eleanor to drive. Destination, Sophia's mansion. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, Paul tends to the unconscious Sophia. He gently cleans her wound in the bathroom, like a twisted caretaker. But his affection is as delusional as his plan. After patching her up, he locks her inside the soundproof recording booth. Then he heads for the main gate, only to be greeted by Penny, who proudly confesses to killing the security guard. Paul doesn't flinch. Instead, he embraces her like an old friend. Back in the booth, Sophia wakes up, dazed and trapped. Paul's voice crackles through the studio speaker. He urges her to stay calm, promising that soon they'll be husband and wife. Thinking fast, Sophia masks her fear. She plays along, pretending to be intrigued, hoping to manipulate him into letting her go. Elsewhere, in the car, William tries to outsmart Calhoun, looking for any opening to save his family. But Calhoun's patience wears thin. He orders Eleanor to pull over, deep in the woods. He drags William into the forest and fires. Then, calm as ever, Calhoun returns to the vehicle, alone, and continues the drive to Sophia's home. Inside, Paul is on cloud nine. He introduces Sophia to Penny, insisting she's harmless. Hoping they'll bond, he suggests they start planning the wedding together. Then, in full delusion mode, Paul begins pampering himself, soaking in the jacuzzi, grooming, and suiting up in a sharp tuxedo. Penny, meanwhile, surprises Sophia with a wedding dress fit for a queen or a captive. Soon, Calhoun arrives, bringing William's shaken family with him. Paul greets them like guests at a grand celebration. In the recording room, Penny makes a snide remark about Sophia's looks, calling her unpretty. Sophia spots an opportunity. She calmly asks Penny to fetch her makeup bag from the bathroom, saying she wants to look her best. As soon as Penny leaves, Sophia hides behind the door, ready to strike. But in a cruel twist, she accidentally attacks Rhodes instead, knocking him unconscious. Downstairs, Paul proudly walks his guests through the wedding setup. He gushes about little Abby being the flower girl, even shows off her dress. Every detail, planned to perfection. Then he opens a trunk, revealing Pastor Lutzner, tied up and terrified. Paul kidnapped him to officiate the wedding. Back upstairs, Rhodes regains consciousness and apologizes to Sophia for abandoning her. Their emotional reunion is cut short when Penny barges in, swinging a baseball bat. But instead of attacking, she sits down at the piano and plays. Still gripping the bat, she demands Sophia join her. Confused but compliant, Sophia starts to play. Then Penny begins to sing. Together, they dive into an intense, unexpected duet of a classic Celine Dion song. Even Rhodes, still groggy, can't believe what he's seeing. But the strange harmony doesn't last. As emotions rise, a struggle breaks out, and both women crash through the window, tumbling onto the balcony. There on the balcony, Penny gains the upper hand. She grabs a bottle of flammable liquid from a nearby barbecue stand and douses Sophia with it. Just as she's about to strike the match, Sophia grabs a skewer and stabs Penny, flipping the situation. But when it's her turn to set Penny on fire, she hesitates and walks away, choosing mercy. Sophia rushes to the studio to help Rhodes, but Penny isn't done yet. She attacks again, and Sophia retaliates, shoving her into the recording booth and locking it shut. Then, Sophia lights a piece of paper and tosses it through the small booth window, starting a fire that engulfs Penny. But watching it unfold, guilt overwhelms her. Sophia grabs a fire extinguisher and desperately tries to put out the flames too late. Meanwhile, downstairs, Paul is dressed in a blue gown, patiently waiting for his bride. Pastor Lutzner tries to break through the illusion, warning Paul that none of this is real. Paul, now agitated, storms upstairs to find out what's going on. In the recording room, Sophia helps Rhodes up and steps out to get help. That's when Paul arrives and mistakes Rhodes for Sophia. He compliments Rhodes the same way he once did William, deeply lost in his hallucinations. Then, Paul sees Penny's charred body and assumes there was a fight over the wedding dress. He proudly reveals a ceremonial Rajput dagger, an heirloom for kings, and hands it to Rhodes, promising it will protect her. Sophia makes her way downstairs and finds Abby and Eleanor under Calhoun's watch. She asks about William, but he's nowhere to be found. A flashback reveals the truth. Calhoun's infected eye had blurred his vision, causing him to miss when he shot William. He thought he left him for dead, but William survived. Back in the present, Sophia's assistant, Kaylor, finds William, injured but alive. She gives him her Porsche, and William races to Sophia's house, only to find it destroyed and empty. He quickly realizes where the nightmare's headed: the church. At the church, Paul and Calhoun prepare for the ceremony. But when Sophia steps to the altar, Paul shocks everyone by telling her to sit with the guests. He no longer recognizes her, The guests are stunned. Why isn't Paul marrying Sophia? Abby, trembling in a flower girl dress, walks down the aisle. Then, out of nowhere, Rhodes appears, wearing the wedding gown. Paul, consumed by delusion, believes he's finally marrying Sophia. William shows up just in time and plays along, walking Rhodes down the aisle as the father of the bride. While greeting guests, William secretly slips a knife to Sophia. Pastor Lutzner begins the wedding, but Calhoun interrupts, reminding Paul that he's marrying a man. Paul, undeterred, demands the ceremony continue. With chilling calm, the minister completes the vows. Paul and Rhodes are now married in Paul's mind. And just like in the film's opening dream sequence, Paul kisses his bride, but the illusion shatters. Suddenly, Paul stabs Rhodes with the ceremonial knife, just as William feared. William leaps into action, knocking Paul unconscious. Chaos erupts. Calhoun grabs Abby, holding her at gunpoint, until Rhodes, barely standing, slits Calhoun's throat from behind, spraying blood onto the little girl. Paul, still adrift in his fantasy, smiles as he's taken away in a police van, imagining himself leaving for his honeymoon with Sophia. In the aftermath, Sophia tries to make amends with Rhodes. William shares a quiet moment with Abby and makes a final decision. He's done being a bodyguard. The job is simply too dangerous for the people he loves. As for Paul, he's wheeled back into the psychiatric facility, eyes glazed with fantasy. In his mind, he's still on his way to the Hilton, ready to begin a honeymoon that will never exist. And that's how this wild, twisted, and totally unhinged ride comes to an end. From stalkers and fake weddings to delusions and deadly showdowns, this movie throws logic out the window and just goes for it. It's weird, it's chaotic, and it's kind of hilarious in a dark, disturbing way. There's probably no deep message here, just a reminder that love, obsession, and barbecue skewers don't mix well. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the madness, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next wild recap. See you in the next one.